Being afraid to speak up is terrible because then you give other people a chance to create your story from their perspective other than from your truth. Be the driver of your story. Being afraid to say the wrong thing is not as important as not saying your truth and what is important to you. Whether it's right or wrong, it's what you know, it's your truth. Speak it and be the driver of your own story. I've been speaking about personal branding for a very long time. And leaving your personal brands in the hands of social media through a comment you posted or some note you put out on social media, or someone else posted something, tagged you and all that. If you let some other foreign force drive your story, drive your brand, there's gonna be chaos because in reality, they will not be painting a true picture of who you are. So don't be afraid to speak just so you do not say the wrong thing. Say everything that is true within yourself. And whether or not there will be bites of maybe something that isn't as correct or as accurate, you spoke it from your perspective and it's not someone else driving it for you. Mm. So in personal branding, you want to be the one to drive your story and not some digital data driving that story for you. Like for example, if someone Googled your name today, what would they find? What would they find? Is it you that wrote that story? Is it you that wrote that comment? Or how is it that they compiled that and painted a picture of who you probably are? So we want to avoid that in our brand, personal branding, and make something that we want to be recognized for. But in this video, I am going to be talking about personal branding pitfalls. And this has affected a lot of creators, a lot of celebrities, a lot of big names that you might know. For example, Mongai Eve, for example, Aziad, for example, Andrew Kibe, and many more on the list, the Pluto and Felicity Shiro. So there are so many people that have been affected by these pitfalls. And as much as I may not specify which particular pitfalls that are bringing these people down, please make sure to write down in the comment. As I explain each pitfall, you can tell me which one amongst the celebrities I've mentioned, which particular point put them down. All right? Now that we have a deal, please make sure to hit subscribe. My name is Frascia Ndichu, and here I talk about healthy habits, career growth, and building a career that you love. So if you are up to a channel and content that helps you grow and build a career and build a life that you love, please make sure to subscribe because that's all I ask in this video today. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. So first things first, you have to realize that you need consistent messaging. Bringing mixed signals or mixed messages in your content or in your brand can be confusing to whomever is seeing, to understand what you're bringing, understand what your message is. So it makes it difficult for your audience to understand if your message is not consistent. I have been one who have done this a lot because first in 2018, I started doing content in exercises. After like about 4 or 5 months, I stopped posting. And after that, I think years later, last year, I started posting content food. That is from 2018, about 5 months. And then fast forward 2022, I started posting a little bit or more exercises, but then I transitioned to cooking. Now, all these are things I enjoy doing. They are hobby. Cooking is therapy to me. And no matter how much I love it, I have to understand that I need to bring content that inspire people. It's not just for me, it's for other people. So, so that being said, today and towards the close of last year, which is 2023, I pivoted into creating content that talks about healthy habits, career growth, and helping people create a life that they actually love. So Inconsistent messaging. I'm giving an example with myself because that's perfect. I have been very inconsistent in the message that I've been posting regarding this, but here we are, and now I have decided to do what I have been doing for the last 10 years or for the last decade or so. And the reason why I did not want to do this is for many various reasons. So reality is, the other thing have been so much into the things I enjoy as therapy, but in reality, what is it that I do? This is what I've been doing. I have been doing career guiding. I have been doing inspirational, motivational talks in high schools, in youth conferences, in so many places. And I thank God that I have gathered the courage to start sharing my journey and everything I have learned through it, everything I have gotten to teach during that particular period. So gaining the courage to drive your own story is something so powerful. You will get it. You will know when you get there, because I did not feel more powerful like I feel like now, right now, sharing what I am sharing, or helping people build their lives in the way that I am doing it, talking to you, sharing my lessons, my challenges, and my transitions, because there are so many of that, and you are here, you've seen, and you will continue to observe, because we have yet to get to where we need to be. And by you liking this video communicates to YouTube that we are together in this journey and we are going to move fast. So first thing first, inconsistent messaging is very bad for your brand. And that has been me for the longest time. And today we are correcting that by I have to repeat that we are doing content that is about healthy habits, career growth, and building a life that we love. So, number two, inauthenticity. Inauthenticity is something that is all over social media today. People are creating brands that they have no control of, because in reality, it's not authentic. Behind the scene is a different picture from what we can all see. And there's nothing as terrible as that, because then you lose trust and credibility with your audience. I watched this big YouTuber in Kenya talk about having a YouTube channel that is big but is a shell. That is the cost you pay for having built a brand that is not authentic. Because then you have a lot of big following, but in that big following, nobody really is with you. They're there for the moment show, and once that's done, they're no longer with you. So inauthenticity is very costly, because then you will look big, but in reality, you're this small. So you want to be authentic. So these are pitfalls, and please watch out for them, because we didn't. Please share in the comment who you think these big YouTubers are that have channels that they can't sell even a pen to. A single pen. Yeah. So you may find someone or a YouTuber who has 10,000 or 1,000 subscribers, but they have the best clients ever. That if they launch today a product, whether it's a service online, an ebook, and whatever it is that they would be selling, these people will buy. Because why? They are quality audience, because this person secured this group of people through authentic work, authentic self, authentic picture, authentic message. So inauthenticity is one pitfall every creator, every content creator, YouTuber, or whatever social media platform you use, you must avoid. Another thing you must avoid while trying to build a personal brand is something we call misaligned brand. Misaligned brand is something that also messes a lot of people, but this is brought about by different things. For example, someone can be viral, like create something that they were doing, maybe having fun, or they were just having a moment at a particular time, and all of a sudden this particular moment give them a viral moment. A viral moment means even people who didn't know you now do through that particular act, whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. Question is, can you maintain that viral moment using what people have known you for? And the trouble with that is that you will find that you're trying to transition and trying to show people the real you, but in reality they're stuck on the moment on how you went viral. This is a very bad thing. Going viral is good, but if you go viral for the right reasons, which brings us to the first point where we talked about inconsistency. The moment you go viral for something that isn't your personal brand, it messes up a lot of things. You may be able to take an advantage of that particular moment to probably correct your brand and be able to align it to what you have been doing all along, but sometimes it can be very hard for people to adjust to who they saw and who you're trying to give them right now. So misaligned brand is something that you also must avoid, because it also makes it very hard for people to connect with you, considering what they saw you doing is not what you're consistently doing. Do tell me in the comment section before like who actually went through this. I have them in mind. I probably I probably should share it here, but I try as much as I can to avoid issues with putting people's faces on my channel, because it's YouTube does not forgive people for using other people's timelines or using other people. Like for example, if I use those people in my timeline and then they go copyright me for having used their picture, for having used their content, whatever minute, second, or whatever these things. I don't like it. In the meantime, tell me in the comment who started like that, going viral, and then you're trying to drive a message here, there, and then people all over, you lose people all of a sudden. Moving on swiftly. Number 4, focusing too much on your credentials. Trying to align your credentials, your papers, with your skills and experience is very hard sometimes, because some of the programs we took in our college, in our university, some of them are things we wanted to do, some of them were chosen for us because we were probably placed by government and all that. Some of them you did because someone in your family did it, and then all of a sudden you came to find yourself and your talent, your skills, your unique set of experiences. Trying to align that too much and trying to fixate it on your credentials sometimes can be troublesome, and it may not be what you had intended to do in the first place. But you don't have to try to align your skills and your talents and your experiences with your education. You don't really have to. Those documents are a gate pass to places you would otherwise not be able to enter, but they don't keep you there. Your unique set of skills, your unique set of talents, your unique set of experiences, and the personal brand that you have continuously put effort in growing are what that is going to matter to most and many people, employers and people who are looking to hire you to work with you in terms of contracts, people who are trying to make you the face of the brand and all that. They're going to look at those things: your experience, your unique set of skills, and most importantly, your current personal brand. Okay, so you don't have to try to go back to school and change your career. It doesn't make sense. I like that someone like Oga Obina openly speaks about him going back to school and studying online. I mean, he communicates that he's humble enough to recognize that he is not yet where he wanted to be, and therefore he particularly needs this paper, not necessarily to go seek a job, just to fulfill something that he wants to get to a place that he finds it was a dream for this person to get to where they are. So despite the following, the money, and I love that he I'd say he does not use other people to bring himself up. Instead, he tries, and even when he invites you on his channel, he would literally have you speak. He listens and he reacts to your story. He does not lead you, he does not push you to speak about your brand in a certain way. And that's what I like about practically watching him and watching the people that he brings to his channel. He lets you drive your story, he lets you speak of your brand as it is, and not him trying to push a certain agenda of what he has heard people say about you. He would ask you questions here and there depending on how you guys know each other, or how he has seen you, or how you're positioning your brand out there. But he does not try to lead an agenda, and that's really a good thing. That's someone who has the heart of other people. And that's I feel like that's what has brought him to the growth that he has today. Another thing is changing your story. Stop changing your story. Okay, yeah, change your story. But changing your story to something that it's not. It's a very bad thing. It's the other point that we talked about, inauthenticity. So you're trying to put an inauthentic story be and hiding your own truth behind it, which is a very terrible thing. It's hiding the parts of your stories that are very important because you probably don't deem them fit or good enough to be shared. People find it so hard to connect with you because of such thing. It is so very bad. We knew someone like Mongai Eve. I'd have to mention her right now because we knew her for the sweetheart that she was. She grew so much with the Trevor behind the scene, and it was good. She was being pushed to be the better of who she is and all that. And fallouts for young couple is something that is inevitable, but it is the fact that these two people um created loopholes to be picked on. And that is when someone like, bringing us to the next point, someone like Andrew Kibe had a chance to enter there and start picking on the guy for who he is and who the lady is becoming. You realize it's who the guy is and who the lady is becoming, and those two things started having crisis. And changing your story right after a fallout doesn't make any sense. I feel like these people would have respected themselves enough to recognize that yes, they were young and yes, they had enormous growth together. And bashing each other after wasn't really a very good idea. It would have been good to part with respect because, I mean, it happens. They won't be the first to fall out or or leave the relationship and all that. But this is the part where they change the story and bringing us to a point where someone like Munga Eve saying that the relationship was not even built on love, it was built on circumstances. I mean, I don't believe it, considering this person to put so much effort into growing the brand that you both had. Another thing is that dude kept quiet long enough to have to speak up. And that is when that's the point I began by saying being afraid to speak up can lead people to create their own truths here and there. And in reality, at this point, I feel like Monga Eve at this point has realized how much of effort Trevor used to put in to get their brand to grow. Because the moment she started doing her own part of content, we went in and supported her. She's a darling. You definitely would not miss out on subscribing to her channel and probably helping and hoping that she has something to give. And when she started going to other content creators places to do their behind the scenes, it brings a question. Are you really a content creator, or you are hiding behind other content creators? Because the question is, show us your talent, show us your work. Okay, going in someone else's space to shoot their behind the scene to show us, I mean, that's not authentic. That's not your story. That's someone else's story. And I understand there's a thing about growing very fast when you are with other content creators. I would love that, but I wouldn't love to be showing their work for them. I mean, they already doing that. What I would want to have in terms of that is understand who this person is and how they are growing their brand and how I can grow my own on my own. So I think there's a whole lot big story on that, but I prefer not to leave it at that and go to the next point, which I talked about, comparing yourself to others. You cannot and you should not bring down other content creators to boost yourself up or to grow your own brand. It is wrong. It is wrong, and this is so bad because it shows a lot of insecurity. It shows a lot of bad vibe on someone's part when you try to bring someone else's. And this applies across all places, whether it's work, whether it's friends, whether it's, you cannot bring someone else's other person's brand down to try and build your own, because then you do not have a good brand that we can follow, that we can continuously listen to, because the last thing I want is to be on your radar. So using fake image is also a very bad thing because it creates an image that is not true, does not exist, and that basically makes people to lose trust in who you are as a person. And someone I saw doing this quite recently is someone like Sean Arwa. I liked that girl when she was creating. She was very hardworking, and honestly, I think she had her brand by portraying an image of something she doesn't have or something that isn't true. She had her brand. In marketing, we say you can promise, but do not overpromise. If you overpromise and underdeliver, then you are going to be in so much trouble, because then you will lose credibility and people will wonder, how did I get here, or how did I get this sort of a China quality product, which is not a very good thing. So she had her brand, and I think what she's trying to do now is the most authentic thing, showing us who Shonarwa is, because that's why we loved her in the first place. So I hope that this information helped you build your own brand. Avoid these pitfalls that I mentioned in this video. Avoid having inconsistent message, avoid being inauthentic, avoid misaligning your brand, avoid focusing on credentials too much. They don't really matter. You can always pivot. Avoid changing your story or leaving parts of your story and making people hard to trust you or hard to communicate or connect with you. Stop comparing your brand with someone else's. Create your own so that you can be recognized for you and not for someone else. Remember, it's your own personal brand. Being afraid to speak up will lead people to create a story for you, and that is something you do not want. And I feel like Felicity Shiro does this a lot. She's an amazing girl. I believe she was the person that made the Pluto look very respectable, presentable, and literally I feel like she had a positive impact on his brand. That's just my thoughts. And using fake image, avoid it at all cost. Do not fake, do not communicate the message that you do not have as your truth. If you enjoyed this video up to this point, I would really like that you hit subscribe and notification bell to make sure that you do not miss out. Let me see you in this next video as we continue to build a career and a life that we love.